Welcome to Marketing with Confidence. I'm your host, Marianne Amies. We're going to be talking all things digital and online marketing for business owners and marketing professionals. If you've been feeling overwhelmed by your digital marketing, be sure to listen along and you'll hear tips, interviews and more that will give you the confidence to create marketing you love. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing with Confidence. On today's episode, we're going to talk about whether now is the time to slash your marketing budget. It's no secret you'd have to be living under a rock. Here in Australia and throughout most of the developed world right now, we're hearing the pain and impacts of moving into a recession. We in Australia are facing increased living expenses, and as bigger businesses like banks and utilities start to put up their fees, we know that the consumer, whether it be B2B or B2C, starts to feel the pinch. And we start to look at, as a business owner, we start to look at our spending and we think, if consumers are going to be pulling back, or if our B2B business clients are going to be pulling back, how can we impact our bottom line, or how can we save in our, operational expenses to have more net profit and to respond to that perhaps decrease in top line sales? So today I want to talk about whether now is the time to slash your marketing budget and what you might like to consider before making that decision. Understanding the impact of a recession on small business is hard. It's a long time since we've lived through a full recession. Some business owners were alive through the GFC. And, I think what we all know is what worked right then won't work now. What worked, during COVID won't work now. We need to always be adapting in terms of what's currently happening in our market. So challenges that businesses are facing right now are uncertainty. They're worried about how their consumer or how their customers are going to be reacting, how revenue might change, how spend might change, how long it takes to get proposals off the ground versus normally. So they're feeling the pressure of that uncertainty, and balanced with that is, wages to pay and staff to look after, and, trying to appreciate that staff living costs are going up, but as a business, our cost is going up. And so sometimes we can't give the pay rises that our staff may want, but we're trying to retain them. And we're trying to balance the scales of everything, of our own prices going up, of our sales potentially going down. And marketing is often seen as a great layer of fat where we can, trim the fat and save some money. And I guess, I'm no financial analyst and I would never claim to be. And it's so important that you're working with at least a really good accountant to understand your numbers. But we need to understand, I guess, all the levers within our business and what pulling one lever can do. And, cutting back on marketing may save you money today, but it may actually have long-term impact into how your business not only weathers the storm of the recession, but comes out on the other side. We often hear that, businesses that can weather a recession will go on to grow at a faster rate because other businesses have pulled back, or, other businesses have stopped actively pursuing sales or marketing activities. When we slash our marketing budgets, we can essentially be going dead in the market. And at a time when every sale and every dollar is so critical to pull into the business, not being top of mind with our customer at that point may be, an easy win for our competitor who does keep marketing. So it's really important to work with, as I said, with your accountant, or, work with the financial people within your business and look at what the projections are for your business and what changes you need to make. And by all means, that may be pulling back some of your marketing. And today, what I'm going to talk about is, I guess, strategy around where you can trim your marketing budget, where you can use your existing database to get more out of who you're currently connected with, who your, top fans and loyal advocates are. So to kick off my advice for marketing during a recession, I'm always going to talk to strategy. Go back to basics. when you're setting out, and especially if you're now setting out for your, FY24 plan, it's a really good time to review strategy. What were your objectives for the last financial year? How did you perform? What areas brought you growth? And that may be product and service areas, or that may be in fact channels. Did you get a lot of growth from email marketing? Did you get a lot of growth from your, on the floor sales team? Did you get a lot of growth from Google Ads? Have a look at that strategy and really do the analysis. Do the analysis both within your P&L as well as back to your marketing objectives. And of course, through your traffic or your Google Analytics, if you have it, and have a look at what performed for you and what didn't. Where did you perhaps spend money but not get the most return, and what activities were lowest cost and actually generated great return for you? So I think it's really critical right now to spend the time getting back to basics. We need to consider how the ideal client is changing. We know that all customers during a recession are going to act and, look and act and feel a little bit different to how they normally would. And look, depending on your product or service, they could look or act a huge amount different to how they normally would. But we need to look at how their pain and pleasure points may be evolving. Pleasure points around luxury or frivolous spending or treating myself may now be changing, and those pleasure points may now be more around wanting to find, taking pleasure in finding a great price, or taking pleasure in having a really high quality product that will last, or taking pleasure in being able to work with an expert and take some stress away from themselves. So your ideal client is going to be evolving, and it's really important to get out your ideal client profiles or to create one and really dig deep on that intersection of internal and external pain and pleasure points to really have a feel for where you think your client is going to be. And it's probably best to visualize this at the peak of the recession if you can, in the worst case scenario, so that you are, planning for what may be. You might actually want to have an ideal client profile that is, best case, and one that is worst case, so that you can, forecast and feel out where your client may go depending on how the market goes. Reviewing that ideal client gives you the perfect opportunity to then reflect on that strategy review, reflect on that analytics review, pull this all together and create for yourself a new strategy. I can't underestimate the value of marketing during a recession. And I know it may seem, it may seem, well, of course she's going to say that she has a digital marketing agency. I have always run my business and my career with a focus on, the most valuable outcome for each person. And I think, I don't encourage spending on marketing during a recession for any vested interest. I encourage it because, when we turn the lights off, no one knows that we're home. And as much as we think our customers know us and remember us and retain us, there is so much in their face every day, across social media, in their inbox, conversations they're having with other people. If we don't stay top of mind, especially in these harder times that we may move into, we are going to be forgotten. And those that do market are going to be remembered and are going to move forward. Even, maintaining your presence, maintaining your relevance, updating your messaging is so critical. As we touched on before about going back to basics, you want to maintain your presence and you want to have updated the way that you're talking. Now's the time, as I said, to update what you're saying are the outcomes, to update your call to actions, to update your top of funnel and your bottom funnel activities, because that may look a lot different. The conversion cycle may be taking a lot longer. They might be more considered. So you need to think, how am I going to stay top of mind during that consideration? Or if they're researching more, how can I keep providing more information so they feel really comfortable and confident in, purchasing my product or signing on to my service? You also want to focus in this time a lot of your marketing on loyalty as well. You have a whole existing, customer database, I hope. And what you want to do is really give them reasons to stay with you through this time. So if you have any sort of retainer-based clients, it's a great opportunity to look at how you can add value, or make sure, you're re-strategizing with them, or you're checking in with them, you're showing them that they're important to you. You might want to add some value if you can, if that's possible. You, just want to make your existing database really feel warm and fuzzy, and know that you're there for them. And then you also, of course, want to be attracting new customers. And as I touched on before, the customer life cycle, the customer, conversion cycle within your business, it may be longer. We probably will see a lot of that impulse that we especially enjoyed during COVID. We'll see that fall away. So, think deeper, longer considered purchases. So in attracting new customers, the shiny thing, the freebie to hook them in, I think that will be probably less powerful as value add, as education, as proof points, showing reviews and case studies, talking to quality, talking to, how durable your product is, or, how timeless your product is, these sorts of things, rather than anticipating that people will be, buying things just because they like it in the moment. So when we think about the value of marketing during a recession, it really is about maintaining our presence. It's really about staying top of mind and adapting to be relevant. So how do we adapt our marketing strategies during a recession? As I said, we really need to be firstly adapting to who and how our customer has changed. But then we need to explore cost-effective alternatives. If you are currently running, relying heavily on paid ads, you really need to analyze the return on actual sales. So if your paid ads are giving you, a 3 buy or plus return, you are then probably covering, most of your overheads and making profit out of those ads themselves. If they're under 3, you probably aren't covering all the other expenses that go into, running those ads, producing your product or service. But that said, those ads may be generating, top of funnel awareness, and your conversion might not come through that channel. So you need to be really careful about that. But cost-effective ads, you may look at Google ads and stop bidding for top of page and bid for lower down. Now, you might not get as many leads, but they may cost you less. And, again, you need to test and measure and learn. So perform different tests. You may, with, your social ads, you might want to look at, really go deep into your analytics and look at your cost per conversion in different age brackets. And, are there some age brackets that you could trim away that are costing you more and not performing as strongly as other age brackets, or a gender or an interest or an ad placement? How can you trim and cut and restrict a little bit to make sure that your budget is being completely maximized? Another great cost-effective, marketing alternative, and I did a podcast a few months ago on low-cost or no-cost marketing, and I really encourage you to go back and listen to that because it's so relevant even now. But looking at, collaborations, who can you team up with? Who is, not competition, but complementary to your business? And how can the two of you both market? This is great in local areas. If you're a hair salon and there's a beauty salon, it's a great opportunity for you to do some cross-marketing together. If you're a cafe and there's a restaurant and you both trade in different times, again, that's a great way to have some cross-marketing opportunities on each other's social media or via newsletter. So looking at how you can use networks, and it doesn't always have to be the competition or the giveaway. It can also just be shout outs. If you both agree to kind of pump each other's content out on stories, even, you're helping each other to expand your reach and to expand your audience engagement. the power of digital marketing is so huge, and I will always sit here and say that, but it is also the most cost-effective form of marketing we have ever seen. I've been in marketing, coming on to 20 years now, and, I used to work on big brands and have $1 million budgets and spend it across TV and magazines with little understanding of who we were impacting or which contributed to sales in market. We now, although the cost of ads feels like it's always going up, it is still so much more cost effective and so much more inclusive for small business, even than newspaper advertising ever was. So really, looking at how you can use those platforms strategically, Pinterest and even TikTok, their ads are quite cheap because they're more in their infancy. Does one of them fit your business? Can you experiment with some ads on there if you're finding Facebook has become too expensive? I also think during this time, we might see Google ads continue to perform more strongly than social ads, only because with social ads, we're often proposing something to someone that may not have considered it yet. We obviously also use it for retargeting and remarketing, but when we're sort of at top of funnel on social media, we're often exposing, a brand or a product or a service at the very top. So we're not dealing with someone who's perhaps as high intent as someone who goes onto Google and searches. So I think during, a recession, we may have better conversion with people that are actively searching. So we may be able to pull back budget from that, top of funnel, no awareness, and move it into the high intent, and really try to target in a limited way towards people that are ready to buy and are Googling that exact thing that you offer. It's going to be really important to use all the free tools that are available to you. Social media, if you can manage it yourself, if there's someone within your business that can manage it, having an active and engaged social media platform will continue to remind your ideal client why you're there. It can help build that personal connection if you really approach it from a personal and human aspect. And, it's your own free platform to use. And although we complain or we begrudge the fact that the algorithm does this or the algorithm does that, it is still an opportunity that's there for us. And the more active we are, the more we humanize our content, we do see the algorithm begin to favor us. And it's true, again, of content marketing. It's a great opportunity to be creating your own unique content. It's a great opportunity to be writing blogs and publishing them on your website, really getting your website up to date and keeping it up to date. I speak to so many business owners who have an amazing portfolio, whether they're, in construction or in design or, a stylist or across almost every, especially professional service type industry or services type industry. And their website shows none of it. Establishing a way on your website to showcase what you do and keeping that updated, updating it once a month. It's almost like all that goodness that we put into social media, bringing it across onto your own website that you own, that can impact your SEO, and that can be that fully comprehensive referral point and build that trust and credibility. And then that, of course, gets us to email marketing as well. Many of us have databases that we do nothing with, and whether that's just databases of customers we've dealt with over a lifetime, or whether that's, databases that we've built through prospecting, there's an opportunity there to continue to engage those databases, using a mail program that manages subscription and unsubscription so that we're ensuring we're not mailing people that do not want to receive this mail, having regular emails, adding value, educating, again, talking to that ideal client's wants and needs during this time and showing them how you're positioned to support that, I think is a really effective way. That's, a low cost way to continue to market and adapt your marketing. Leaning quite heavily into your email marketing may provide you a better stream of results than your paid ads, and you may be able to really pull back on new client acquisition, but get more out of, you know, existing and past clients as well. And I touched on it again with, you know, social media, but those benefits of collaborations and partnerships, you know, we saw it in COVID especially, and I think, you know, we can definitely draw on it to carry us across this time as well. But looking at ways to, bundle products, to bundle offers, to work with other businesses, whether that is local or whether that is, you know, on a larger scale, but looking to, you know, you could have a collaborative email, you could have a collaborative event, you could have, obviously, we touched on collaborative social media, you know, competitions, collaborations, offers, shout outs, drawing on people and drawing on other people that are going to be in the same boat as you is going to help you to maximize your impact and staying top of mind during this time. It's of course critical, and especially I believe in harder times, to measure and adjust your marketing efforts, like your P&L, like your, you know, your cash flow. You need to be looking at your marketing and the results of your marketing month in and month out. I mean, if you're going to make decisions about cutting your budget, you really want to make sure that there's no evidence there that tells you otherwise. You don't, you know, want to turn your Google ads off and find that all of your sales dry up because that was your main contributor to revenue. So you really want to understand from your marketing what it's doing now, monitor how it evolves as we move through this time. And then with the tests that you might be doing from what we've discussed above, monitor the impacts of that. Now, you know, you may pull back 10% on your ad spend and your sales go down 20%, but you also need to think of the market dynamics changing and think, well, what would it actually have gone down by if I had stopped altogether? It is a bit of a grain of salt situation because, you know, we also sometimes need to think, even though my marketing has had a decreased return, what would have been my return if I stopped marketing altogether? And, you know, as you hit harder times and you may need to pull back in certain areas harder, you're not going to give as much weight to those what ifs. You're going to go with the hard data, and I completely appreciate that. So make sure you're looking at that data. Make sure that there's someone within your business that understands that social analytic, that digital analytic. If you're outsourcing at all, make sure you're getting your reports each month. And if you don't understand them, which so many clients tell me they don't, push back and say, I don't understand this report. I need someone to talk me through it. I need somebody to line by line explain to me what this means, because digital marketing agencies, marketing experts, we tend to use a lot of jargon and we fall into that expecting that everybody else can follow along. So if you're paying for outsourced services, or even if you have team members on board, you really need to let them know if you don't understand what those metrics mean, because in this time, monitoring those metrics, looking at those changes and understanding the impact is going to be what carries you through, and I guess what empowers you to continue to invest in your marketing and really believe in the outcomes it can bring. I hope this gives you some confidence and some insight in what to do with your marketing budget during this time. I know it can be quite hard to even know what your marketing budget should be and to know how much to spend on marketing. And we definitely get asked this all the time. But what I can confidently say is what you need to be doing is always looking at your marketing effectiveness first. Talk to the financial experts that support your business about what your marketing budget should be, what sort of marketing plan you can afford. I am currently planning a Sydney workshop with my accountant, who I adore, where we'll be talking about how much you should spend on marketing, what a marketing budget should have in it, and how to stay profitable, how to really analyze your marketing. So combining two things I love, I guess, marketing and numbers. And if you're in Sydney, I'd really encourage you to try make it, because I don't think it's a way that marketing gets talked about very often. And I think it'll be a really enjoyable and insightful event. Marketing, like, you know, all investments in your business, are about long-term benefits, holding par, adjusting the course, and continuing to keep your eye on the results will be so critical over the next few months as we move through this recession. it's so important that you don't just slash marketing because it seems like the fat in the business, and you really get an understanding of how your marketing contributes to your overall success and how you can effectively trim and innovate, I guess, to find a new way to market and a new way to move forward as your consumer evolves as well. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. I would love to continue this conversation with you more and encourage you to reach out to me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. If this episode can help a fellow business owner or fellow marketer, please share it. And don't forget to follow along and subscribe to make sure you get my next episode. Hey, thanks for listening to another episode. If you don't want to miss one, make sure you subscribe to the show in your podcast app. And if you love it, be sure to share it with friends and colleagues who you think could benefit from increasing their digital marketing confidence. Want more? Head to marianneamies.com to find out how you can work with me directly, to reach out to have me speak at your event, or to grab yourself some free resources.